Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Deli Podcast. We'll call it the Deli Podcast 2.0, the Match Deli League 2.0. And today we are joined by the owner of the world champion Woodpeckers. Say hello. And so this one's going to be more so of just a Q&A since we're getting back into the podcast. And so yeah, I guess we'll hop right into the questions. I'll go over some of mine first. The first question is, who's the Mount Rushmore of deli goats? Yeah. I think we're talking about all positions, all time, just both leagues. But I guess no one's really developed enough in Deli League 2.0 yet to probably earn it. So we can do both. We'll do Deli League 2.0 Mount Rushmore of goats so far, and then we'll do the Deli League 1.0 Mount Rushmore of deli goats. I would say for my first pick, I'm gonna have to give it to Xander Kane. Game changer, multi-time Defensive Player of the Year winner. I would say he'd be my first person on it. Who'd be your second? Yeah, my second pick is also going to be Tartar. He's a game changer, and not only did he kill it with the Sandstorms, but even in old age, just like Tom Brady, he came back with the Elks, and I think he won two additional championships. Who do you got third? Mhm. Yeah, and I'm going to go with Malcolm Leonard Jr. as my third pick. For that's going to be the two QBs I have on here. No more QBs, but he was pretty insane, a multi-time MVP. And I was even thinking about putting Malcolm Leonard the third on here because he actually has won, I think, more MVPs already in his shorter career than Malcolm Leonard Jr. But Malcolm Leonard Jr. is the championships and the consistencies over the years. So he'd be my third pick. I like the pick, and my fourth and final pick is I'm gonna go offense again. So I'm actually gonna have three offense. So I'm gonna go with the wide receiver. I'm gonna get Tyler Master. He was pretty key, but with that Sandstorms first uh franchise that they had, which also with Tartar, so they both make their way on here. But I would say those were two of the best players in the league for every single year they were in the league. They were always up there as on the best teams and doing the best, and both of them were always MVP in the MVP race. So I think Master would definitely be my fourth. And then who do you think for the 2.0 so far? I think for my first pick, I'm gonna give it to the MVP on your team. and I'm gonna go with Dramonte Perkins Jr. Um, he he had a sick rookie year. He's having a pretty sick follow up year, and he's definitely in the MVP conversation once again. So he's gonna be my MVP, my first pick for the Deli Mount Rushmore. I think with my second pick, I'm gonna give it to I'll give it to a running back. 'Cause we haven't had a running back on here yet. I'm gonna give it to Christian Pena, the Offensive Player of the Year last year. He was very good, although he had a very good offensive line. But so far in his second season, with a much weaker offensive line, he's still pretty much killed it, just almost as much for the Voodoo, and he's been a great fit on a completely new team. So he earns himself a spot. Yep, absolutely. And then for my third and not final pick, for my third pick, I'm gonna go with the linebacker David Long the third, the Defensive Player of the Year from the first year. And I mean, I gotta. How can you not include him on a list like this? I feel like he's got to be on here after his sick rookie year. And although he's been a bit lackluster this year so far, he still leads one of the best defenses in the league every week in and week out. So he's gonna earn himself a spot. And with my final pick, there's a lot of people I can go here. I'm thinking there's Marino, the cornerback from the Dogs. There's Fulton, the cornerback from the Voodoo. But I'm gonna actually go with Pat Bob Spongler, or yeah, Pat Bob Spongler Jr., the safety on the Woodpeckers. You know, when it mattered most, he came up huge in the championship game, and he's followed up that huge championship game with a really good season, improving off of a pretty mediocre first season, and now he's definitely taken the leap to stardom instantly. Definitely looks like a generational talent, and I would say he's definitely earned his spot. Oh, of course, 100%. Miranda Breeze has no clue what's coming. And so then, basically, that's kind of it for real questions I have. The other three, and this was one of them. One of them was just long, but it wasn't really a question. But the other questions that are like questions I have, can I get a what from Master? So I'll say what. He's been messaging that a lot in the story, so I'll make him happy. And then Isaac Lopez says, "Why are you so cute?" And I guess I can't tell you, but I'm just kind of perfect. So I guess that would be it. Exactly. Like I might like in Beauty and the Beast, I'm the Beauty. I might as well just play Belle. But so you have some questions too, right? Ooh, let me pull up the draft. Let's see. Well, for the bust of the draft, I think I definitely have to go Jacob Peters so far. I mean, he got benched, and he was the second overall pick. So Yeah, I think he got his final start in week 8, and so far Walker's taken over the undrafted quarterback, and he hasn't done too bad with the job, so no reason to think that he's gonna lose it. He's definitely done better with it than Peters. And for steals, I would say that the best steal so far would be Kyrie Mojet from the Alligators. He is kind of he has been very unreal. I think he leads the league in forced fumbles. He's up there in tackles, and him and Trey Trotty make up a dynamic linebacker duo for Orlando, and is what really helped push them to a bunch of early on wins, or early winning streak to put them in the postseason picture. Although they have since fallen out, if they're gonna get back in the picture, it's definitely gonna be behind those two. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. He's definitely doing very insane. One of the best receivers in all of this draft, and how he felt the final pick and being the final wide receiver selected is kind of crazy. Did you have the? I would say they have a pretty good chance to. They've put themselves in a good position to. The question would be, what about the other threats? Are teams like the Voodoo and the Dogs too much of contenders this year to quickly count them out? Because right now it doesn't look like the Woodpeckers are going to get the number one seed, which means they're going to have to play against both those teams. So they're going to have what's going to be a pretty hard road in the postseason. So the question is, can they get back-to-back huge wins if they don't get the one seed to win the championship? They've shown themselves to be capable of four, so I'm not going to count it out. But all three of those teams, I would probably give them almost all pretty equal shots because they've both been pretty sick in their own ways, and they've all had their highs and lows this season. Definitely, they have a pretty sick offense, but they definitely have their holes on defense as a result of that. I'd say all three teams have pretty significant, like, or pretty noticeable holes at least, that is going to be the key for the other teams to expose them in the playoffs. Um, well, I would say for all the expansion teams, besides the Gators, it's probably, you know, in be respectable mode. Try to win a few games at the end of the season, and try to get a respectable first year so you can attract some of these free agents that are going to hit the market next year, and be able to show yourself as a true team that's going to use last season as a building block to shoot up into the playoffs next season. But for the Alligators, I would say they should be in win now mode. Um, I mean they have a pretty good roster for the lower amount of players that they have on the team, and I would say they should go as much all in as they can. Now for the as the playoff teams go, which are all the year two teams at the moment, I think they're kind of all gonna be in the same setting, that they're gonna be playoffs or bust at this point. And I would say all the teams but the Pythons could probably even relax on their starters. You know, give everyone a little bit of a lower usage rate, just so they can be as fresh as possible when the postseasons come around. So yeah, I guess that was. um, I would say I think the bottom few teams are probably gonna pick up no more than like one more win, two more wins. It depends if how much the top teams start resting their players and preparing for their playoff push. If they do that, I feel like they could probably squeak out a few more wins than they got during the regular season. If they don't do that, I feel like it'll get even harder to beat these teams that now are playing with some motivation behind them. But a team like the Alligators, I think that regardless of the mentality of some of these top teams, I feel like they always have the potential to upset one of them at any given moment. Oh yeah, definitely. They have their definite upsides that they use to their advantage. Their coach has some pretty solid game plans for their team, and it's been working as a result. I mean, Isaac Lopez has proven to be a game changer ever since the Orlando Alligators acquired him. And Trey Trotty is looking out like one of the best trades from this offseason, one of the best acquisitions. Yep. There are a lot of solid picks this year, and I would say probably on as we look at the offensive candidates, the two leaders kind of separate themselves from everyone else, and I would say that probably Jermonte Perkins Jr. and Malcolm Leonard the third at the Voodoo. But I'll throw in a little bit of a sleeper pick this year. I think a defensive player is gonna win it, and not only a defensive player, I think a defensive rookie is gonna win it. I would say there are defensive rookies this season that are leading the charge for defensive player of the year this year, and they're all having absolutely insane years. One of them being Chase Gonzalez, another one being Jackson Ware of the Emeralds, but I doubt he'll win MVP because of his team's success. Then I would say the other one or the other two being Trey Trotty and Kyrie Mojet, because they've both been in their own regards pretty insane. Um, Absolutely elevating this Alligators team to, despite the lack of players, to a solid amount of wins currently on the year. They have five. So my prediction, my bold prediction would be one of those four will win the MVP. But don't sleep on Groman. He's already had a pretty sick second half of the year, and he's really climbing up the ranks. And he honestly would probably be in fifth at this point for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And he had a good first half of the year, and now he's having a legendary second half so far. So I wouldn't be shocked if he finds himself in the MVP conversation as well. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Um, it would probably be a player that kind of has like a sick situation upgrade from last year. Um, but if we're not thinking necessarily just the sick situation upgrades, because I can't think of anyone with that right away. From the Dogs, Manny Herrera has been significantly better, and Ludwin Castellanos has went from potentially the worst receiver on the team last year to the best receiver on the league undoubtedly this year. So he's had a pretty major leap at the position. Um, Trying to think of some other options. I'm looking through the potential people. Phoenix Wishing from the Pythons had a much better year because not only this year has he been way better than he was in his rookie year, but he's also being a leader of a very young team with a lot of top tier defensive talents, and they're all developing very nicely. All the young talent on the team is really just showing out, and I think Wishing deserves some of the credit for that, being the middle linebacker, the leader of the defense. So I'd go with those being my primary picks so far. Ooh, I'll definitely look through that. Well, at the moment, I would say the top, or I'll just list some names off. I see Eli Davis is set to become a free agent. I see Flats Boyardee is set to become a free agent. I see Corey Fulton is set to be free agent, but I think he just resigned and I just missed that one, so I wouldn't count on that one. I think Ricky Martello is the same deal as Fulton. I think he resigned and I just missed adding it. Um, oh, Markel Jones of the Pythons, the wide receiver of the year last year. I think he led in receptions and touchdowns. He's set to become a free agent. The center, Bryce Barkowski Jr., the highest overall offensive lineman. He's set to become a free agent with offensive tackle Najee Burns, who I think is the second, or no, he's the third highest offensive lineman. Um, Also from the Pythons, I guess those would be your big ones. Let's see, the Emeralds don't really have any. Um, Deshaun Marino, the Mr. Irrelevant from the first draft, is set to become a free agent, and I could definitely see him landing a starting job with one of the new expansion teams for next year, and I could see him being a very key player for some one of the new teams. And Ludwin, who we just talked about, also set to become a free agent, and after his major boost this season, it'd be exciting to see how much money he ends up demanding in free agency. But yeah, I would say those are your major free agents. All right. Well, let me look at the cap. Like the Woodpeckers have 20.5 million to spend for next season. So I would say they should probably be conservative with it. You know, try to re-sign Boyardee and Davis. Looking at a team like the Voodoo, they have 42.5 million. So I feel like this is the type of team that can go out and try to get another like star defensive player or just get defensive depth. However, however they want to go about it, I think they should spend on defense. I think that's their biggest need at the moment, and it still is. Getting another linebacker next to Coble is pretty necessity. Getting an opposite edge rusher of Xander Kane is also going to be pretty key. Maybe getting a second cornerback next to Fulton would be huge again. You know, like the Stark they had in their first year. Or maybe getting another safety next to Adams Jr. could also be pretty huge. And then for the Pythons, they have a ton of cap room, but I would suggest that they don't go out and probably spend it much, even though they have 69 million. I think this offseason is going to be huge for re-signing all the guys they drafted this year. They had a sick draft class, and they really need those guys to re-sign and stay around for the long haul. So my recommendation for them would definitely be spend out on all your rookies. Make sure you get them back. Try to get guys like Jones back if you can. Try to get guys like Bryce Barkowskis back if you can. Guys like Burns. But I think their primary concern should be trying to get this rookie class back. And then for the Dogs, I would say their number one concern at this point is going to be to re-sign Ludwin. I don't think they should go after getting Marino back. No point in having a backup quarterback when they already got a rookie Bradley James on roster if need be. Um, and I feel like they can go out and go on a spending spree because they don't have as many people they're gonna have to re-sign next year. Not as many people who will be demanding some of these big contracts. So yeah. Mhm. Absolutely. All right. So is that all of our questions that we have, or? All right, then we have 30 minutes of the podcast, so that's about the desired length. So I think we can end it about here. Uh, yep. I hope you all enjoyed the Deli Podcast 2.0. We're bringing it back, and we'll definitely be trying to have some more episodes in the future. So stay tuned. Peace.